Hello, I'm Jason again with MathTutorDVD.com, and today we're going to begin our sequence of the videos in this TI-89 sequence that's going to really take us on the path to understand this calculator. So in this section we're going to begin to learn how to do basic arithmetic, basic calculations, and also exponents. So if you're taken to the screen in your calculator, just highlight home and hit enter. If your calculator turns on and you're already taken straight to the screen, depending on your settings in the mode menu, then you're already good to go. Basically in this section I want to assume that you know absolutely nothing about this calculator. We've already done some basic calculations, but I want to solidify it here. Basically, and we've said a lot of this before, but we'll say it again. Anything you type in as your calculation is going to be between these two lines here, and once you evaluate it, whatever you typed in will be up here on the left and the result will be on the right, and as you type in more and more calculations, those will continue to scroll up, so you have a history of everything that you've done in the past, up to 30 different lines you can sort of have in the history there. So if you were going to do some basic calculations, you would do them just like a regular calculator. 5 times 5, and then the equal sign is the enter sign, so you would hit that guy, and then notice it rewrites it as 5.5, that's sort of the algebra notation, and that's equal to 25. 7 times 125.2, you hit enter. 7 times 125.2 is 876.4, and of course the number of decimals and everything that we have over here is going to be defined by the mode menu that we talked about before. In this case I think it just have it set to floating point, so it's going to do the best it can. I don't have it to any sort of fixed point, and then of course if the number gets too big it'll just go off to scientific notation. Now one more thing I'll mention if you haven't noticed it in the other videos, everything I enter in here, let's do 7 plus 5. Like this, 7 plus 5, I'll hit enter, and then that'll pop me over and show me 12. Everything I enter, as soon as I hit enter and the answer is calculated, whatever I typed in last is going to be, again, put on this line and highlighted. And the reason that's the case is, if I wanted to make a quick modification, let's say I did a calculation, I decide, oh, I really want to add one more. It's highlighted now, so if I just begin typing again, 4 times 4, then it's going to overwrite it just like a computer. But if I want to modify it, I just have to hit an arrow over here, just like on a computer. Then my cursor will become active and I can easily make a modification, 4 times 4 minus 1 in this case, and then hit enter, and then of course 4 times 4 minus 1 is the latest thing that I've put, so that's on the stack now. This is called the stack, and of course since this is the last thing I've now typed in, this is the thing that's highlighted now. So no matter what you put in this calculator, the last thing that you typed in is going to be the thing that's highlighted here. It's very, very handy because a lot of times you might need to make a quick modification. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, I wanted to make it minus 2, so then I'll do it that way. So you can easily do that way. Now let's say you're doing a calculation and you realize, oh man, I did all this stuff. The result of this calculation up here I need to use in another calculation. So you can type in 876.4, but you can also hit the up arrow and go and highlight this guy, and then you can hit enter, and that's going to, once you hit enter, when it's highlighted, it's going to push it right down here into this sort of active scratch pad, and then you can multiply by 5 if you want to and hit enter, and that will be the new calculation. So the history here is very valuable. Just like you can go highlight an answer and make a slight modification to it, you can go up and highlight another entry. So if this is an entry you made a long time ago, maybe you want to make a change to that. Maybe instead of 7 plus 5 you want it to be 7 plus 8, and you can hit enter. So this area here called the stack is important for you to be able to see what's happened in the past, but just keep in mind that you can take anything that you've input into the calculator and also any answer that the calculator's given you, and if you highlight it and hit enter, you can modify and work with it again. So that's really, really useful. So let me go ahead and clear that. Let me pop up here to the stack area and start hitting the clear button, and we'll get rid of it. Alright, so just to cover the absolute basics, you have your add, subtract, multiply, and divide here. They operate just like you might expect. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 minus 6 is going to give you a negative answer. So if you have a negative answer, it's going to show you -1, just like you might expect. Division button's right here, 2 divided by 5. Notice what happens when we do that. 2 divided by 5 is going to continue to give me the fraction 2 divided by 5. It doesn't actually do anything. In a future section, we're going to cover dealing with fractions in detail in this calculator. But suffice to say for now, if you type what amounts to a fraction in, 5 divided by 4, like that, it's going to leave it in a fractional form because this is exact. And this goes back to the mode menu. If we go back to the mode menu here, we go to page 2, see where it says exact approximate, it's in automatic mode. That means that if possible, the calculator will leave the answer in exact form. And a fraction is more exact, is thought to be more exact than a decimal, prettier, so to speak. Then it will leave it in exact form unless it's impossible to do so, and it will go ahead and show you the decimal. So if I were to go down here, just as a quick refresher, and change it from auto to approximate, like this, and go ahead and hit enter to save changes. And if I do 5 divided by 4 again, then I'm going to get a decimal. So if you get sick and tired of looking at these fractions that come about as just trying to do simple division, you can change the mode menu in there. Let me go back to page 2, and you can change it to approximate. But I do, however, recommend that you leave it in automatic mode, and I'll show you why here in a second. If you're doing something with a regular division, let's say you did 4 divided by 8, and you do that, and you're like, oh man, it reduced the fraction to 1/2, but I don't want 1/2. I want it. Maybe you don't know what 1/2 is equal to. Let's do a different one. 7 divided by 8. That's a little bit better. It leaves it as 7 divided by 8 or 7/8, but you're not really sure what decimal 7/8 is equal to. Instead of going back to the mode menu and changing the mode, this is the last answer. So all you have to do is hit the green button here, and then the squiggly equal sign, which is the approximately equal to, and then it will automatically take that last guy and change it into a decimal. So that's very, very useful. So my recommendation is to just leave it in automatic mode. You leave the fractions the way they are, and then if you need to convert one to a decimal later on, then you just go ahead and hit this green squiggly equal sign, the approximate button, and you can change anything you want to a decimal. All right, I want to talk about this button here. This is how you enter a negative number into this calculator. You do not hit this minus sign for a negative number. So if you want -2 plus 3, the answer is going to be 1. -2 plus 3 is 1. If you accidentally hit this button, -2, well, let me go ahead and delete this actually. You see, actually it's not going to let you do it because when you hit this minus sign, it doesn't make any sense. You can't use this as a negative sign of a number. It's going to assume when you press this button on a blank line like this, it's going to assume that you're intending to take the last answer from the calculator and then do something with it, subtract 2. So that's what it's doing there. And that's actually a really useful feature of the calculator too. If you have a blank line here and you just press one of these operation buttons, like a multiply, it's just going to assume, instead of giving you an error message, it's going to assume that you're trying to operate on the previous answer. But I just wanted to point out to you, don't try to put a negative number with this button here. Use this guy down here. That's why it's down near the numbers. So if you wanted -3 times 9 and go ahead and hit enter, then it'll be -3 times 9. It'll give you -27 like you might expect. So that's how to enter negative numbers. The next most important keys here are right front and center. These are the parentheses keys. These operate just like you would expect in algebra. Basically anything you put inside of these parentheses is going to be done first. So if you have 2 plus and you open up parentheses and you say 5 times 5 and close the parentheses, the computer or the calculator is going to operate inside the parentheses first. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 2 is 27, and it should give us 27. So make sure that when you use the parentheses, you're doing it on purpose, and that you're intending for it to do that. If you do it a different way, 2 plus 5 times 5, we're still going to, in this particular case, get the same answer because the order of operations of algebra, multiplication always comes before addition. But in other circumstances, that's not always going to be the case. So be careful about the way you use the parentheses. You know, a better example to show you how parentheses can really affect order of operations is, what if you did the calculation 2 minus 2 plus 3? The way the calculator is going to arrive at the answer is just like the rules of algebra, left to right. 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 plus 3 gives me 3. Now if I go in here by hitting an arrow and just do a little bit of surgery and put parentheses here, and then put parentheses here, and get the answer, it's going to give me a totally different answer, -3, because in this case the parentheses come first. 2 plus 3 is 5, and then 2 minus 5, which is the answer inside of here, is going to give me the -3. And so that's just your basic algebra. I'm not trying to teach an entire algebra lesson here, but I am trying to let you know that these parentheses function just like they do when you're doing your homework in algebra. So make sure that you're using those guys right. And you can put anything you want inside of parentheses here. I mean, these parentheses can house anything. I mean, you could go, 1 divided by 2 times 3 divided by 5 minus 6. You could put a whole bunch of stuff in here, and then you can have another set of parentheses, minus, and then you can evaluate something else in here. 3 plus 6 minus 9 divided by 8. You can have a bunch of garbage in both of these guys, and the calculator will evaluate what's inside of here first, according to the rules of algebra and the order of operations, and then it will evaluate everything inside of here. It will get two numbers and it will subtract them from each other. And it's going to leave it as a fraction just because the calculator happens to think that's the best thing to do. Since you kind of have a division here, it's being treated as a fraction. And then this 1/2 here, 1 divided by 2, is being treated also as a fraction. So the calculator is going through all of this, and it's actually done all of the fraction simplification for you. When you think about it, it's pretty awesome that it's actually doing that for you, because there's a lot of fraction simplification going on here. But if you don't want to stare at that fraction, just hit the green button and the approximately equal to sign, and it's going to convert this last answer to a decimal, -13.7, which actually, since it's divided by 10, you can see that that is exactly the right answer. Okay, one more thing we'll just cover in this simple section on basic arithmetic is the exponent button. This is the exponent button here on the calculator. On other calculators, including other TI calculators, there's an x squared button for commonly used things like just raising something to the power of 2. That button doesn't exist, so the only way that you can raise an exponent on this calculator is this button right here. So if you wanted to square something, 2 raised to the power of 2, you would write it just like that, hit enter. And you see it says 2 squared, and that's equal to 4. If you wanted to take 5 and raise it to the power of 2, then you would do the same thing. If you wanted to raise it to another power, a higher power, there's no special button for that either. You do exactly the same thing, 7 raised to the power of 4. You're going to get a large number. If you start to do something crazy like 5 raised to the power of 102, or to the power of 102, then it's a very, very, very long number. And you can actually go up here and see what we have here. Now, if I put the calculator in scientific notation format in the mode menu, if I go down here, so I've got this guy here, if I take it out of normal and then go to like scientific notation. So if you were to raise a number to a very large power, raised to the power of, 102, and then you hit enter here, then the calculator is going to try to keep it in an exact form, and so there's just a ton of digits here. And if you actually go and highlight up here and hit the over arrow, then you'll be able to scroll over and see all of those digits. Now, to be honest with you, in my opinion, the calculator isn't terribly friendly with some of this stuff because, in my opinion, the calculator should have just converted this to scientific notation, but it's trying to keep it exact for you is really the reason why it was going on here. If you do a calculation and it gives you a giant number like this, and you're like, well, I really would just rather it just show me in scientific notation, and if you can't just get the calculator to do that easily for you, then just put a decimal point somewhere in your problem. So instead of 5 to the 102, let's just change it to 5.0, or even you can just take the 0 out, just 5, and then put a decimal point in here, raised to the power of 102. You'll hit enter, and then it will force the calculator to go ahead and, since there's a decimal point involved, it'll force it to do its scientific notation. And I think in the mode menu here, I've got it set up to 6 decimal places, and I've got it in scientific notation format. So that's why it's there. So let me go ahead and quit out of here and go back in here. So that's my advice to you. It's happened to me more than once, and I've scratched my head. No other calculator that I know of, when I take 9 and raise it to the power of 56, is going to just display a ton of digits. But the TI-89 is going to try to keep everything exact for you if it can. So you can attempt to fix that by going in here and hitting a decimal point. If you're trying to get something to force it into scientific notation, it does present things in scientific notation when it thinks it should. But if it gets confused and if you really want to force it, just stick a decimal in there somewhere, and then it'll do it in scientific notation. Another thing you can do, instead of doing it that way, is if you're doing 5 raised to the power of 102, let's just say, and you get a very large number like that, and you're like, I don't want to see that large number, you can stick a decimal somewhere, and that'll force it to go to scientific notation. But since this is your last answer, you can do the same thing. You hit the green button and hit this approximately equal to button, and that will force it to take this and convert it to something more approximate, which is using the scientific notation that we have. And that's sort of what you would typically want to see rather than a long string of numbers. So my advice is, if you do a calculation and you see something just really long that you don't like, stick a decimal point in there somewhere, and the calculator will force it to approximate it. Or you can hit this approximately equal to sign, and that'll do the same thing. Now this guy here also functions to do negative exponents. Some calculators have a -1 power, button on their calculator. You know that you see, sometimes you see x raised to the -1 on some calculators for a button. There's no button like that on this calculator. This is the only button that we have for exponents. So if I wanted to take 5 and raise it to the -1 power, whoops, I did the wrong thing. If I wanted to raise it to the -1 power, I would just hit -1. So 5 raised to the power of -1, and it's going to represent it as 1/5, because that's what that is. 5 raised to the -1 is 1 divided by 5 to the 1. If I wanted to take 5 and raise it to the -2 power, then I could do it like that and hit enter, and it's going to represent it as 1 over 25, because 5 to the -2 is 1 over 5 squared. If you get sick of looking at these fractions, just go ahead and hit the approximately equal to button, and we're in scientific notation, so it's going to represent it like that in scientific notation. But if I go back into the mode menu, just for kicks here, take it out of scientific and put it into normal, which is sort of a best of both worlds thing, and I do the same exact thing again, then it's going to give me my exact fraction back when it can. I go ahead and hit approximately equal to, and it's going to keep it in there as a decimal. So in the mode menu, I always keep it in some kind of floating point mode, and then I always just keep it in normal. Normal means it just keeps it approximate when it can, but it uses scientific notation if the number gets so large that it can't display it. For instance, what if I did 5 raised to the power of -105? That's going to be a very small number, and it's going to represent this as, you can't even see it, it's so big, 1 over and then some very large number, because 5 to the 105. But if I go and hit the squiggly button to approximate it, that's 4.05648 times 10 to the -74. Okay. So in this section we've covered a lot. We've covered basic arithmetic, add, subtract, multiply, divide. We've covered how to use these parentheses here. We've covered how to do exponents, negative and positive exponents. Talked about squaring and cubing and things like that. And we've talked a little bit about the fraction capabilities here. When you have something in terms of a division here, it's going to treat it as a fraction. We've also talked about when you get a fraction as an answer, how to convert that to a decimal with this nice little button down here. And also, anytime you get a large answer as a result, if the calculator doesn't automatically put it in scientific notation, how to force it to go to scientific notation. Those are all very important topics. You can rack your brain trying to figure out how to get the calculator to do those kinds of things, but watching this section hopefully has helped you here. We'll go ahead and stop here. We'll go on into the following sections where we'll continue learning how to use the basic modes of this calculator. I think you'll find that as you use it more, then some of these things that seem a little bit odd at first will become second nature, and then you'll just get really good at using it. It'll help you in the long run in your class and on your exams and on your homework.